Because that shit you poured in the kitchen, I should have you up. But I let you walk away, and I let you come get yourself together. You know, if you ever pour that shit on me again, that will be your last stand.
Hey, this is the first step of me talking to my inner child and trying to heal myself and get over a lot of my trauma.
Nobody expects to die at a stop sign. You're not running. You're not hiding. You're just waiting for the light to change. And Kajha Johnson was 24 years old with 2 kids at home, and somebody used that one still, quiet moment to take everything from her. And the part that is going to stay with you? Police had someone in handcuffs within 48 hours. Not weeks, not months, 48 hours. Which means whoever did this either left a trail they didn't bother to hide, or they simply didn't care about getting caught. If this is your first time here and you want more stories like this one, hit that like button, subscribe, and make sure you click that bell icon so you never miss when we drop a new case. You're watching Crime Files. Let's get into it. Kajha A.K. Johnson was from Belleville, Illinois, a small city sitting right across the river from St. Louis. 24 years old. And when you hear the way her family talks about her, you realize real fast that she wasn't just another name in a police report. She was somebody. The kind of person people genuinely felt when she walked into a room. Her mother, Brandy Stanback, described her as having this infectious laughter that just took over whatever space she was in. She said Kajha was funny, outgoing, smart, and responsible. She called her a go-getter. And you can tell that's not just grief talking. That's a mother describing exactly who her daughter was because she needs the world to know. She was also a mother herself. 2 children. And from everything her family has shared, those kids were her whole world. Her mom said she was the type of person who would give you the shirt off her back without hesitation, without even thinking about it. That's not someone living carelessly. That's someone who was building something. Someone with real people depending on her, real love surrounding her, real plans for the future she never got to see. By the time June 3rd, 2026 came around, and Kajha had no idea it was going to be the last day of her life. She was out, moving through the afternoon the way any of us would on a regular Wednesday. At just after 1 o'clock, she was in her vehicle, stopped at the intersection of Ridge Avenue and North 25th Street in East St. Louis, Illinois. A stop sign. The kind of moment you don't even think about because it happens 100 times a day without anything ever going wrong. But something went wrong that day. Someone shot her right there in her car while she sat completely still. Waiting at that sign in the middle of the afternoon, she was rushed to a nearby hospital, but it was already too late. Kajha Johnson was pronounced dead. A 24-year-old mother, a daughter, a sister, a woman her family called a beautiful soul, gone in a matter of seconds on an ordinary Wednesday afternoon at a stop sign that should have meant absolutely nothing. The East St. Louis Police Department arrived at the scene and quickly recognized this was bigger than what they could handle alone. So they reached out to the Illinois State Police Division of Criminal Investigation, specifically the Public Safety Enforcement Group, and asked them to come in and lead the investigation. Now I want you to sit with the details of this scene for a second. Ridge Avenue and North 25th Street, East St. Louis, just after 1 in the afternoon. This is not a situation where Kajha was somewhere she shouldn't have been, or doing something that put her at risk. She was in her car, at a stop sign, in daylight. There is nothing more routine than that, which means one of 2 things was true. Either this was completely random, or someone knew exactly where she was going to be and when. And once you see how fast this case moved, random starts to feel very unlikely. Illinois State Police got to work immediately. They started pulling the scene apart, tracing movements, talking to people, building a picture of what actually happened at that intersection. And within 48 hours, just 2 days after Kajha was pronounced dead, they had a name. They had their suspect. And that kind of speed doesn't come from luck. That comes from evidence that points somewhere specific and points there fast. The name was Brion D. Bess, 23 years old, a woman, from Swansea, Illinois, a small community in the Metro East area, just a short drive from East St. Louis and right across the river from St. Louis. Bess and Johnson practically lived in the same world. Same general area, same age range. Two young women existing in the same space, and one of them allegedly ended the other one's life in broad daylight at a stop sign. On June 5th, 2026, 2 days after the shooting, Illinois State Police presented their findings to the St. Clair County State's Attorney's Office. And the state's attorney didn't hesitate. They charged Brion D. Bess with first-degree murder, a Class M felony. That is the highest felony classification under Illinois law. Not manslaughter, not second degree. First-degree murder, premeditated, intentional. That is what prosecutors are saying this was. Bess was booked into the St. Clair County Jail and held there pending her first court appearance. And now here is where the story takes a turn that makes everything feel even heavier. Police have released no motive. None. They have not said whether Kajha and Brion Bess knew each other. They have not said whether there was a history between them, a conflict, a relationship of any kind. Nothing beyond the charge and the name. And that silence is incredibly loud when you think about what we're actually looking at here. Because this wasn't a drive-by in the dark. This wasn't a stray bullet from somewhere else. Someone allegedly pulled up to the specific intersection where Kajha Johnson was stopped and shot her in the daytime at 1 in the afternoon. That level of specificity tells a story even when the words haven't been said yet. You don't end up at the right intersection at the right time by accident. Either Bess followed Kajha to that stop sign, or she already knew Kajha was going to be there. Both of those possibilities point to the same thing. This wasn't random. This was directed. This was intentional. So, what happened between them? What could have possibly gone so wrong between two young women in their early 20s that it ended with one dead at a stop sign and the other sitting in a jail cell facing a first-degree murder charge? That is the question nobody has answered. And right now, the public is left to sit with it, while investigators were building their case. Back in Belleville, Brandy Stanback was trying to hold herself together long enough to plan a funeral and figure out how to take care of two grandchildren who no longer had a mother to come home to. She set up a GoFundMe campaign to cover the cost of burying Kajha and to help provide for the kids going forward. And the words she wrote in that fundraiser don't read like a statement. They read like a mother pouring out everything she had left. She wrote that Kajha's love for her family and friends was unwavering, that she made a lasting impact on everyone she met. And then she wrote something that is hard to read without feeling it. She said that after her daughter's life was taken, she is now faced with the unimaginable task of laying her baby to rest and caring for her two children. She ended it simply, "I also have to raise my two grandbabies now." Two children who wake up every single morning without their mother, who will grow up in a world that took her from them at a stop sign on a Wednesday afternoon when they should have had decades more with her. And somewhere, a 23-year-old woman sits in a cell charged with making that happen, while the why behind all of it remains something only a few people know. That is the part of this that is impossible to shake. Kajha Johnson was 24 years old. She had two kids who needed her, a mother who adored her, a whole community that felt the weight of losing her. She was in the wrong place at the wrong time in the way people casually say that. She was at a stop sign in the afternoon, and that should have been the safest, most forgettable moment of her entire day. So let me leave you with this. What does it take to follow someone to an intersection in broad daylight and shoot them in their car? What kind of anger or fear or desperation gets a person to that place, where another human life feels like something that can just be ended at a stop sign on a Wednesday? And why is it that the people who are taken the most suddenly, gone before anyone could even process it, are always the ones described as lights, as the ones who gave without thinking, as the ones whose laughter filled rooms? Why is it always them? And for Kajha's two children, who are growing up right now trying to understand a world that took their mother before they were old enough to make sense of why, what does justice actually look like? Is it a conviction? A sentence? Does any of that bring her back to that car, alive and laughing the way her mother described her? These are not questions with clean answers, and they shouldn't be. If this case moved you, if you believe Kajha's story deserves to be heard, please like this video, subscribe to Crime Files, and hit that bell icon so you never miss a new upload. These families deserve to be seen. The very least we can do is show up for them,